Formula One is a sport with thousands of different people in it that make it what it is today, which can go from commentators,
Stroll is edging,
unfortunate pit crew, car designers, and team principals who spray water guns, smash headsets, and occasionally sleep in the same plane together, where it looks like they might have just explored each other's bodies. But the most popular faces in F1 are the drivers, and there are a lot of them out there. Ones that are talented, likable, funny without even trying, aggressive drivers, clean ones, and a couple stupid drivers as well. Okay, maybe more than just a couple. But in this video, I'll be explaining as many F1 drivers as I can to you guys. Now, I know there's a gazillion different drivers over the years, so I won't be able to mention everyone. But I'll do my best to yap about each and every racer, and in the same amount of time it takes you to watch roughly half an episode of Drive to Survive. Starting with none other than the man himself, and a lot of people's favorite, Fernando Alonso. Fernando is known for 5 things. 1, being bad career decisions, like when he decided to drive for McLaren in 2015, where he ended up driving a tractor for 4 years, and then Alpine, and a little bit of Aston Martin. 2, he's known to perform well even with cars that are mediocre. Like, he barely missed out on titles even with a crappy car at Ferrari, and is able to put midfield cars into the top 5. And 3, all I can say is that he is extremely young. 4, definitely hasn't been in the sport for over the past 20 years. And 5, he totally was not world champion by the time 2 of F1's newest drivers were born. Now, this might sound like I'm sarcastic, but I'm really not. Fernando is one of the oldest drivers in F1's modern era, but the reason why we call him young is because of how he's still able to be fast.
Drizzle comes down.
Oh, he's got...
Alonso squirming. Oh, he's made a miraculous save.
Oh, he nearly dropped it from the gravel. Alonso so nearly into the barrier and out of the race. How has he done that?
And also a running joke where people call him a rookie after coming back from retirement. So he's the most experienced driver. But even with age aside, he's still the youngest driver on the grid. I mean, just think about it for a second. You won't see any other driver do gritties on TikTok, start mewing on camera, and give you this fire-ass forehead shot. And that is why Fernando Alonso is a lot of people's certified Pookie Bear. He's like that one chill uncle that still fucking got it.
You know what that is? Simply lovely.
Max Verstappen, aka Dutch Sid the Sloth, is an absolute racing machine. This man lives, breathes, and fucks racing. That when he's not racing in F1, he either races in other events, sim races at home, and wears his team shirt all the time. That he even wore it during his child's gender reveal. I swear, racing is in Max's blood, sweat, and jizz. And that is what makes him arguably one of the fastest drivers in Formula One, where in 2024, he was able to secure his world championship without always having the fastest car.
And like you said, you know, before I could only win it in the fastest car.
Exactly.
Won an F1 race at 17 years old in 2016, destroyed almost every single teammate he gets paired with, and has won from the most unpredictable places. The way this man extracts every bit of pace out of his car is like that one rancher milking up the driest cow. Max gets every inch of speed. However, no one can have everything. Max is a driver that's been through a lot of shit. Mostly childhood abuse from his father Jos Verstappen, who wanted to mold his child into a racing robot.
3 minutes later, where is he now? I said, come on, drive. I'm still, I don't care, drive. And then he couldn't move his fingers, and I didn't care.
And this created a winning mentality for Max, where he always wants to win, and he'll do whatever it takes, which can mean aggressive moves and feisty defenses.
Don't do shit, bitch.
Hey.
Fuck you, nigga. Oh shit. Oh shit.
Which makes Max a very controversial driver. Though I personally like what he does, since I think all F1 champions have that mentality. And a lot of people also like how Max is the most unfiltered driver. He'll say whatever he wants to say.
If you two end up wheel to wheel after the start tomorrow.
Now, can we just already stop about this? Because we had so many questions about this.
Do whatever he wants to do.
Verstappen doesn't want to celebrate on that podium tonight.
Absolutely. Walks off the back, does not want any part of that.
And just doesn't give 2 shits if someone tells him otherwise. Carlos Sainz is honestly a walking meme. This man zones out half of the time like he's getting flashbacks of fighting off drones in Afghanistan. But regardless, when Carlos doesn't look like he smoked a little too much, this Spaniard is extremely talented. His drives at McLaren and especially Ferrari were a piece of delightful cake.
Oh my god, did you see the move?
Did I go for it? Did I send it? Or didn't send it?
And him singing Smooth Operator after every win is just the perfect cherry on top. Oh, and he also literally has a piece of delightful cake. But anyways, Carlos is the very few drivers to have driven for McLaren, Ferrari, and Williams. He's also a driver a lot of people thirst over, and I completely understand why. And he's a driver capable of winning big as long as his team can fully support him. Now, middle-aged F1 drivers is a category I love so much. This includes drivers like Nico Hülkenberg, the man with the most races without a podium despite being able to drag shit boxes into the top 5 in qualifying, Kevin the Viking Magnussen,
driver of the great my bolts, mate.
Valtteri Bottas, the honorary Australian,
and I love the famous Aussie lifestyle,
and Jensen, the first driver to press the DRS button. That is a lot of middle names. Now, the reason why I like this category so much is because these drivers are like dads that still have it in them. Most of these drivers are in their 30s, and the fact that some of them have children and can still drive F1 cars while even schooling the new rookies is like seeing Lightning McQueen in his prime again. Sir Lewis Hamilton, the second oldest driver in the modern era who drove for McLaren, Mercedes, and now Ferrari. One of the biggest faces of Formula One with the most successful career so far and amazing talent to back it up.
Perez goes off the track, comes the chicane, off goes Leclerc, through goes Hamilton! And he's going to try and make that lunge, and he does make that lunge down the inside. That is the best move of the lot!
However, has quite the questionable Team LH fan base. This image says so many things: legacy, excellence, willpower, inspiring, strength, heroic. Holy glaze! What the fuck? will.i.am wrote an entire fucking book. But anyways, the reason why Lewis is called the face of Formula One is because people who don't know jack about the sport and have to mention one driver, 9 times out of 10, they're gonna say
Lewis Hamilton.
And Lewis is also an extremely positive driver that whenever he starts speaking, you just assume that he's gonna start thanking people back at the factory.
Back at the factory and back at the factory. All the guys back at the factory. Everyone back at the factory.
Everyone back at the team, at the factory.
Everyone back at the factory.
And in a way, he can also appear as the opposite of drivers like Max. He's a lot more filtered.
Your thoughts, please, on a reverse grid?
I don't really know what to say to it. The people that propose that don't really know what they're talking about.
Well, I think it's complete bullshit, to be honest.
That's exactly what I said.
And instead of pulling up with the same shirt every time, Lewis pulls up in like all 6 colors of the rainbow in just a single day. But Lewis and Max do have one thing in common. They both love to protest against the FIA. Hamilton used to be a lot more vocal in his early years, and I loved it.
You obviously feel that you're being targeted.
Maybe it's because I'm black. That's what LEG says.
He's a lot more PR trained now, though. But when the FIA banned F1 drivers from wearing jewelry, he pulled up to the function with like 6 watches and 10 necklaces. Baller move. Lance Stroll is literally Joe Biden. Now hold on, stay with me now. Just think about it for a second. Stroll and Joe have both fallen downstairs, fell off their bicycles, and act like NPCs.
Hello.
Difference is Stroll just does it in a car, which is why I think these two might just be twins, ladies and gentlemen. Although Joe did say this one time.
Yeah, I have 2 younger brothers. I'm the oldest of 3, and I've got a sister who's the love of my life.
The Fox News Decision Desk can now project that former Vice President Joe Biden will win the state of Alabama.
Now, I don't know if Lance is in love with his sister, but I also won't be surprised if he is. But despite how much they can be alike, there's one difference between them. And I think it's that Joe Biden might have known more about what's going on in his surroundings than Lance Stroll does in an F1 car.
Fernando Alonso goes off the track. That's a high-speed crash, and he's made contact with Lance Stroll.
Apart from that comparison though, Stroll is a mediocre driver who is so inconsistent and has a bad personality along with it. And he's been in F1 since 2017 because his dad owns every team he's been in. Which can now bring us to Esteban Ocon, who is almost the polar opposite of Stroll. The Frenchman came from a family that was far from rich, so he's had to work hard for everything. It's so respectable considering most F1 drivers drivers come from a rich background. However, the reason Ocon isn't the exact opposite of Stroll is because he is also a driver that's tough to like. Because for years, Esteban has beefed with God knows how many drivers and even his own teammates. He had personal beef with Pierre Gasly even from their karting days, had beef with Max Verstappen and Sergio Poorez.
We were having a good race until Perez tried to kill me 2 times. What a tweet, man. Why did you want to kill him 2 times?
I tried my best.
Terrorized Fernando Alonso while they were teammates.
Fernando Alonso, Esteban Ocon, contact down at Desida de Lago.
I lost the win, I think, thanks to our friend.
And even when they weren't teammates.
Idiot, Fernando.
Overall, Esteban can be both a very likable driver that can be pretty silly sometimes.
Esti on the podium, baby!
He's a great person off track, I guarantee that. But on track, he can and will terrorize anyone he sees.
Oh my god.
What a sight that is.
Lando Norris and Oscar Piastri, British and Australian McLaren boys that are so similar. They're both drivers capable of winning, very suitable for the younger demographic of F1 fans, perform really well on track, and are pretty funny.
Keep going for now, keep
I
going.
can't, it's broken! It's broken! Anti-stalled! It's off. Fuck!
Though the difference between them is that Oscar is a much more cool-headed driver, this man literally just has a set number of facial expressions, whether it's him winning a race, witnessing the end of the world, the fall of empires. Oscar will always just have the same look in his eyes. He's a very reserved guy, you know, very nonchalant like that, you know, he's definitely taking care of his aura points.
This team plus 1,000 aura points.
Whereas for Lando, he's the type of guy to go... Now, as you can tell, he's a lot more expressive. Lando is very vocal about everything, whether he's racing or not. Now, this can be pretty funny sometimes, but it can also get him into deep trouble when he ends up saying things out of spite. But overall, these two are great meme materials and drivers, of course. Lando's the type to shine in quality and in tire management, whereas Oscar can pull off unexpected results whenever he clocks in.
Yeah, Gasly!
Pierre Gasly is honestly a driver I can sum up with just one long sentence. And that being an extremely talented Frenchman that is friends with a lot of other drivers, is able to rizz up all the ladies, but we all know at the end of the day is gay for Yuki Tsunoda. Enough said. The rookies of Formula 1, aka the new guys, which include Kimi Antonelli, Oliver Bearman, Gabriel Bortoleto, Isaac Hadjar, Jack Doohan, Franco Colapinto, and Liam Lawson. Now, the reason why I've categorized all of these drivers together is because they all have one thing in common. They are all pressured by the media and fans to live up to a certain standard. This can never be more true. Kimi Antonelli has to fill in Lewis Hamilton's shoes in his debut with Mercedes. Oliver Bearman is pressured to be just as good as Kevin Magnussen or Charles Leclerc. A lot of people have been comparing Gabriel Bortoleto as the next Ayrton Senna. Franco Colapinto looks a lot like Senna as well, so there's those comparisons too. Liam Lawson has one objective: survive as Max Verstappen's teammates. Isaac Hadjar has the pressures of being a Red Bull driver, and Jack Doohan entrusted his F1 career to Alpine, which is like the equivalent of trusting an electrician to fix your plumbing.
Submerge it and then plug it in. Ow! So I guess
Now, when it comes to their personalities, they are all great people. You know, obviously there's a lot more to uncover over the years of their careers, and I know this category is obviously going to change over the years, but I'm basing this off of the 2025 grid, and hopefully some of them manage to remotely survive. Alexander Albon, a Thai driver with a backstory enough to make someone a villain, but he's actually the nicest person you'll ever meet.
Let's talk about me, Alex Albon, number 23. Try and stop me getting past. That's fine. I'll get through on the grass.
Alex started as a Red Bull driver who had multiple good results ruined by Lewis Hamilton.
Has Hamilton troubles here as he turns in? Oh, and Lewis Hamilton makes contact with Alex Albon. It forces it the long way round. Norris goes the long way round on Perez.
No, not
again. No, with Lewis Hamilton.
Then he gets fired by Red Bull in 2020 because they saw that he couldn't perform as well as Max, but came back to F1 with Williams in 2022 and has been doing great. Alex is just overall a really jolly and likable dude, and also he's part of the 2019 rookies, which include George and Lando, and they've been trolling each other probably their whole lives.
George, you are so bad! George!
And with that clip right there, it brings us to George Russell, a driver that manages to become a meme without even trying.
Welcome to Skibbity Toilet Baku, my dudes.
And loves posting shirtless photos of himself, crashing on the last lap of a race, and especially enjoys driving into people and blaming them for it.
What the f was he doing? Honestly, see a for what? He just cut across me.
Ultimately, an easy summary of George is that he is a really quick driver that can pull off amazing stints, but his ability to magically ram into people or walls out of shithole nowhere makes him not as likable or as efficient as other drivers. But now we need to fully lock in, ladies and gentlemen, because we're now about to talk about Michael Schumacher. An absolute legend of the sport, 7 world championships and 91 wins. Michael was a beast of a driver in the 2000s era. He was the guy who brought Ferrari to its golden age, set impressive records, and was a great mentor to Sebastian Vettel. He was also integral to Mercedes as well when he came back out of retirement from 2010 to 2012. Unfortunately though, he wasn't able to do well during those times and later suffered a skiing accident in 2013, which left him with severe brain injuries. Though thankfully he was a great mentor to Sebastian Vettel, who still carries on his energy, and his son Mick Schumacher managed to get into F1 with probably one of the most traumatizing experiences, but you know, it's still nice to see. Now, Yuki Tsunoda is a driver I'll describe in one paragraph instead of a sentence that I believe captures the very essence of this man. Yuki Tsunoda is a Japanese driver that passionately wants to open a restaurant, got mistreated by Red Bull God knows how many times, and is a driver that easily gets fired up on track.
These guys are fucking retarded.
Also easily the tallest driver on the grid, and is gay for Pierre Gasly. I rest my case. Charles Leclerc is a driver that's been tortured the most by his own team. Charles is Ferrari's golden boy. He's been with the team almost his whole career. They've had a lot of ups and downs together. In 2024, there were a lot of ups, while from years like 2020 to 2023, there were probably way too many lows to even remember.
Stay out, stay out, stay out.
Fuck! Why? What I'm doing?
I am stupid. I am stupid.
Who's that gone off?
Leclerc. It's Leclerc.
Charles Leclerc.
But anyways, Charles is a Monegasque driver who is pretty goofy from time to time. He's unbelievably talented though, being able to challenge drivers like Max, Lewis, and Alonso, making him championship material. And the reason why he wasn't champion in years like 2022 or 2024 is thanks to his extremely reliable team. But at the end of the day, even with all the depression memes, Charles will eventually shine. It's just a matter of when. Could be tomorrow or 30 fucking years from now, God knows. Kimi Räikkönen, aka the Iceman, is known for 3 things. 1, his extremely calm radio messages.
Hey! Steering wheel, somebody tell him to give it to me. Come on!
2, extremely thought-provoking interview responses.
Kimi, you missed the presentation by Pele. Will you get over it?
Yeah, I was having a shit.
And 3, the driver who walked all the way to his yacht in Monaco after his car exploded mid-race.
There is Kimi Räikkönen. He's not even gone back to the paddock. He's got his shirt off. He's on his boat.
Now, apart from Kimi being a driver who just could never give a shit, he is arguably one of the cleanest racers ever, always giving space to others on track, avoiding crashes. He's also the driver nicknamed Schumacher's Nightmare, which was so fucking badass, making him a very efficient driver on track and also a very efficient person with words.
Push Lewis Hamilton all the fucking way.
That's the hardest thing to do. It's not going to be easy.
No. It's more like a hobby for me, so obviously I don't need to do it if I don't want.
Sebastian Vettel used to be one of the most hated drivers in F1 during his domination with Red Bull. After winning 4 championships at Red Bull, he went to Ferrari, and his experience at the team was... You know what? Let's actually not talk about that. Anyway, Sebastian is super charismatic. This dude just has a witty response for everything.
Like that you're not full on the power on that turn. Everybody goes full on that, except you.
Yeah, maybe I'm a pussy, so maybe I'm lifting.
As I've said before, he resonates the same energy as Michael Schumacher, and he's also a mentor to Michael's son, Mick, and ever since his retirement, he's just been living his best life. The veterans of Formula 1 are drivers with a certain aura to them that can't be replicated by anyone else, and since I can only name a few, I'll make this fast. Ayrton Senna, a really legendary driver known for his unique throttle technique where he goes and unfortunately passed away in a racing accident. James Hunt, an absolute baller who slept with 5,000 flight attendants, got wasted all the fucking time but still won races. Alan Prost, aka the Professor, already a dope nickname, and a driver who could challenge the likes of Senna and was a very calculating, elegant racer. And finally, Niki Lauda, the man who survived a fiery crash, still went on to race like a beast, was an amazing mentor to Lewis Hamilton, and made Mercedes what it is today. And speaking about legends, we now can head into the GOATs of the sport. Now when I say this, I don't mean Michael, Max, Alonso, Senna, or Lewis, but rather Nicholas Latifi, Logan Sargent, and Nikita Mazepin. Although Mazepin is more of a Matt rather than a GOAT. Most annoying asshole of all time, because Latifi and Logan are both former Williams drivers that are very likable, but they just so happen to be addicted to crashing and spinning. Drivers questionably bad where we just have to call them GOATs. Whereas Mazepin has the same addiction, but he's a horrible person who doesn't know his place and touches his friends inappropriately. That if you were to compare Nikita Mazepin to someone like James Hunt, it's like flirting versus harassment. But finally, after speedrunning all of those drivers, I think it's finally time for some honorable mentions to close off this video. Starting with Danny Kvyat, a Russian driver who lost his girlfriend, daughter, and F1 career to Max Verstappen. Sergio Poorez, a Mexican driver who was amazing until he went to Red Bull. Daniel Ricciardo, a really funny Australian driver, and the same man who beat Max Verstappen in equal machinery then threw away his career. I just had to say it again, guys, forgive me. And since we're on that topic, did someone say Nico Rosberg, the Monaco-based YouTuber who beat 7-time world champion Lewis Hamilton also in equal machinery? But anyways, regardless of my schizo episode just then, another mention is Roman Grosjean, the man who walked through fire. And finally, the last driver we have, Robert Kubica. One of the best drivers to never lift the World Champions trophy. The man who drove tractors his entire career but still managed, and was even able to make the worst car in Formula 1 history look decent. And, we're not done yet, with only one fully functioning hand. Which honestly just makes drivers like Nikita Mazepin and Lance Stroll look like disgraces. Because they still have both hands, but somehow manage to drive as if they only have one. Like, what's your other hand doing, guys? Jerking off?